Going live. It's syncing. Oh my goodness, maybe I should have did it. Oh, okay. Hello. Welcome. You all, if you're coming in, I'm super excited that you are here. Go ahead and hit like and share. We're going to start here in the next 30 seconds. Give people the opportunity to go ahead and chime in for those who are getting the invites through email. And also, by the way of Instagram, for those who are following me here, I'm going to go ahead and go live here as well. And welcome in. Go ahead and like and share.
Yes,
come here with you all shortly. Super excited that you're here. How you all doing? How's your day coming along? All that good stuff. Yes, yes, and yes. All right. Here, how you all? I have a new device here. Trying to make it work and do what it do. Let me go ahead and go ahead and let us know where you're all tuning in from. Where are you tuning from? What part of the states you are? And by the way, I'm here in Florida, in Tampa Bay, Florida, that is. So let me know where you all are from. And don't be shy. Let us know where you're calling from, where you're tuning from, all that good stuff. Yes. Wish I had some music, Dr. Jess. What you think? I wish I had some I know we did our little intro, but we should have had some music. What you think? We should have had some music. All right, everything is connecting. All right, let's go ahead and just jump on in. I'm excited. I'm hoping that you all are just as eager and excited as we are. For those who are watching here on Instagram and also on YouTube and Facebook, thank you so very much for taking the time out of y'all busy schedule. Listen, it's Wednesday. It's Winning Wednesday. And if you're coming in for the first time and you're like, who is this woman in my newsfeed? Well, I'm glad you asked. My name is Ruth McCrackin, also known as Ruth Mac. I am your career success strategist. I help mid-level professionals who are looking to market their skills online so that way they can be able to attract and magnetize their next ideal dream job. So there's enough about me. Dr. Jessica is here with me. She is also a speaker, coach. She's a very profound author as well as a mentor, and she's worked in multitudes of platforms. And she's also worked with corporate platforms as well as individual higher performers like yourself. And we're excited to go into our topic. We're not going to hold you long at all, but we definitely want to share with you different tips and information and value that is not being shown nowhere else but here in terms of between you and Dr. Jessica. So I'm going to pause and let Dr. Jessica share a little bit about herself. And again, welcome.
Yes. I am so excited. So again, I am Dr. Jessica Houston. I am a transformational speaker and speaker coach. I teach coaches, authors, and speakers how to build authority, how to speak on more stages, and how to monetize their expertise. But today, woo, we're going to be
Yes.
talking about
Okay.
the power of self-awareness, the power,
Yes.
just how important it is that you are aware of self, that you know who you are. And one of the things that
Absolutely.
I've
Power of
recognized
self-awareness. Mhm.
from this topic is that it's really about being aware of your beliefs, being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your habits, being aware of your desires. When
Come
you
on.
become self aware, it becomes a game changer for you personally and professionally.
I couldn't say it more. You hit it spot on. So I would like to just open up the floor because many people may not be aware of what is self-awareness. Although it sounds like it's been viral, it's been even before even right during the pandemic. You know, people have now raised their vibration, and now we're in a current state here in 2022 where we're calling it where we're calling it the Great Resignation. So a lot of people are raising their vibration and their awareness, but there's a lot of people still not familiar with the term self-awareness, Doc. Share with them what does it mean to you and how is it defined? What is self-awareness?
Yes. So for me, it's simply awareness and knowledge of self. And so when I think about my journey to self awareness, it happened in layers. And it really wasn't until several years ago that I realized that I was not living in my truth, that I was not walking in my truth. I thought I was, but really, I was striving to people please. I was striving to be the
Whoa, stop right
person.
there. People, please. How many can relate to that? Go ahead and put in the comments. Go
Yes,
ahead and put number one, people
yes,
pleaser. You're worrying
yes.
about pleasing yourself or putting yourself on, showing up as who you are, your true define you. Go ahead and say you can relate. Say, you're not alone, Dr. Jess. I can relate with you. Go ahead.
Yes, because the way that I grew up, there were rules. And if you did not abide by those rules, then something was wrong with you.
Ooh, the conditioning, right?
Yes, 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 and
Conditioning, growing up as by design, by default, we came
yes.
into this 3D reality of you have to work hard, you have to
Mhm,
follow the rules, go to school, go to church on Sundays, wake up and maybe perhaps be part of the choir, the ministry, the youth ministry, and then start all over again day one on Sunday all over again
mhm,
until you're able to achieve that degree and then get your picket fence, perhaps even more than likely get married if you got lucky, and maybe have a child or two or maybe three, and then move on. So tell me more about that as far as there were rules and how did you feel when did you decide that self-awareness became more than just that to you where you had to break the mold, break away from society way of living and being?
so this is something I struggled for a long time with rejection, with not fitting in. And so I kept trying to like force myself, force myself to fit in. And I used to look at it as something negative, but then I realized like, no, you actually have a gift of being
Mm.
unique. You have a difference. Like growing up, they would say I talk proper, so something was wrong with where
Ooh,
I
say
was
it.
from.
How many
To
people can relate
speak
to
proper
that? You have
English.
to have a certain way of speaking. Like they say, oh, you're speaking, and I'm being transparent because this is a space where you're talking, and they be like, you're talking too white, or you're
Yes,
talking too proper. When did it
yes,
become that you're talking too white or too proper? Talk on that. Yes,
yes.
speak on
That
that some
was
more as far as self
exactly
awareness. Whoosh,
yes. That was
huge.
exactly what happened to me. I
Yeah.
was talking too white, and I made good grades. I wanted to make good grades. And now I'm not going to say I was this angel child, but I did. And I wanted to, again, I wanted to make my parents proud of me. And so my entire life had been just make your
Mhm.
family proud, make your church family proud. You don't want them to look down upon you. And so I was not,
Mhm.
like, for example, I love hip hop music, right? But then in
Me
my
too.
religion, and it was kind of like, well, you should only be listening to gospel, or I like to get a glass
Mhm.
of wine. Oh, you should not be drinking. I even had a minister say to me, the wine that Jesus made wasn't the wine that we have now. And I'm like, okay. So
Wow.
it was just
Really?
so many things. Like, it makes you feel bad about who you are. And it's like, I finally said, no, this is who I am.
Yes.
This is who I am, and I'm going to be me. And so I had to take the time to be able to distinguish between who
Mm.
they have wanted me to be and who I really want to be and who I am. And so I decided that no, I'm going to show up as Jessica. And
Exactly. Woo.
if you like me, great. If you love me, great. And if you don't, that's okay too.
That's
And
okay.
we've got to get to the point to where we say, you know what, I'm going to be me, and I'm not going to change who I am to fit into the box
Awesome.
that
Me
you have
too.
created for me. All right, Ruth.
No, girl, that's good right there by itself. And for me, for those who like, I can relate to that story because growing up, as a descendant from two immigrant parents, coming from an immigrant, and you're coming, they were on a mission to bringing me into the States. I was born here, by the way, in by way of Miami, and I was brought up with different rules and discipline and certain structure. And as I fast forward, as I went into high school, I was very timid and shy. Believe it or not, even though people say you have a huge personality, but I was the type of person I didn't know about self awareness. Me knowing who you are, what is it that defines you? How are you able to stand out and really connect yourself with your higher conscious, co-creating with higher source. Some people might call it God, which I do because I'm a firm believer that there is an extension outside of my being that is in collaboration with me, that's cooperating with me to making sure that I'm having a divine destiny. Am I right or am I right? Who can resonate with that? Who
Yeah.
can relate that you're not alone? There is a army of ancestors and angels that are looking for your better good. My point is, I was the type of person, believe it or not, I would hide behind my friends. I would go be the ones who hang out with the most popular, the best dressed, the ones who pretty much act a clown in the classroom, and I would just be like, "That's me. I'm just behind the scene." I wasn't the one to really project my true personality that I'm showing today, because
Mhm.
I was the one that was taught by my parents to be the spiritual believer, be very modest, wear your skirts, your long dresses. Yes, who can relate with that in the chat room? Say, I
Yes.
am not alone. Say, I
Right.
am not alone. I
Mhm.
was the one that was very modest. I didn't wear, I couldn't wear certain jewelry. I was only
Mhm.
able to just wear a watch, maybe that, if you will. And then that was it. The rest goes on. And I was hiding behind the scenes. So I love the fact that study is showing that studies, people are now becoming, ever since the COVID, ever since
Mhm.
pandemic, they're tapping in and recognizing that the human part of them is connected with a higher divine
Mhm.
conscious. You're
Mhm.
co-creating with a higher being. You're connecting with the better version of you. Taking time to know who are you, and how is others able to define who you truly are as well. So I like that fact that you're telling us that, enough is enough. When
Mhm.
do you know that you're going to show up and become the higher version of you?
Mhm.
How can you share some tips, share some value that you've experienced and has helped hundreds of other lives, that been able to say, you know what, I can resonate with that. How do I show
Mhm.
up, Dr. Jessica? How do I raise my vibration or raise my self-esteem to know that I'm aware that I know my value is way more than what I've been be able to project out there, whether it be in the workplace, in my
Mhm.
business, in my
Mhm.
relationship. Walk with me on that.
Yeah, so it all starts with self-assessment. You have to first do an assessment of yourself and look at your life, look at your relationships, look at your career. Am I where I desire to be? And when we are not, then that means there is a blockage somewhere. And many times it's just our limiting beliefs. But if you don't know you have them, you can't fix them. And so I like to say you cannot fix what you do not face. So you do need to do a real assessment. You can fool everyone around you, but you can't fool yourself.
Ooh, that's powerful. So share with them how would they be able to identify what questions do they need to ask themselves? How do I ask myself and know that I'm assessing myself in a way that I know that I'm being intentional? I'm now reconstructing myself or undoing bad habits.
Yes. So I normally start by asking myself,
Yeah.
what are my limiting beliefs? How have I settled in the past for things that I know I didn't want? I just either accepted it or I pretended I wanted it, but I really didn't.
Yeah. Hmm. So, prime example for me, when it came to realizing my worth and my value when it comes to my background, at the time, my daughter was at least 4 months. She's now going on 9 years old, probably going to 21 later on in the year. But my point is, I had an epiphany moment. I was well into my master's, right? And I didn't know too much about self awareness that I know now back then, where it was just almost a decade ago. And how many of you can relate where you're in your job as a professional, as an HR professional? I was well into my master's, and I believe that I was still subconsciously sitting behind the scene, allowing others to pretty much orchestrate or order my steps
Mm-hmm.
versus allowing my higher version of me to order my steps, letting me hear, utilizing my inner compass to direct me and making sure that I'm still on the journey to success. I'm still on the path to success. So what happened is I began to below my standards in
Mm-hmm.
corporate America as a woman and as a colored woman, and being able to know that I mastered and got my master degree and still was making well under 40K. I was making exactly, if I wanted to tell you the truth, about $37,645. And if I did overtime, I would be gracious to probably creep right under 50K at the end of the year. But here you are, I'm telling myself, that was not my achieve. That was not my goal. I wanted to be already making six figures after I made my master's, because who can relate that your student loans was about six figures? Private universities as myself. Go ahead and put in the hashtag one. Go ahead, put in the comments one that, yep, that was me. Fast forward to, I had to come to awareness on who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Who is Ruth McCrackin? Who am I in the human being? Do I love myself? Do I take time for self? Do I take time to do self-care and self-improvement and professionally develop myself? So walk me through. So when I did that, did a transformation for me, because the truth is, if you don't get to know yourself and you don't really spend time with yourself, you're going to find yourself every day waking up, going to work, or going into your business, or connecting with other people, and then performing,
Mm-hmm.
creating a projection of somebody that which is not you. Maybe that's your alter ego.
Mm-hmm.
How do you break away from that mundane or that normal thinking that's the normal, when now people are having the vocal of showing up on social media, and sometimes they're just creating a persona that they're not really defining who they truly are. They don't even know who they are. How do
Mm-hmm.
one truly know who they are? How did you find that out?
Yes. So I had to change the story that I had been telling myself about myself.
Do you hear that? How many people have yet still changed their stories? Are you still creating the story that your mom or your dad or your grandparents or your guardian told you that this is how you're supposed to be living?
Mm-hmm.
There's no point of you thinking that this is the way to be, as far as I want to be able to add value, I want to create value, I want to be able to impact lives, and
Mm-hmm.
you're creating a second agenda, or you're creating a different persona. You're not showing up as you. So people kind of sense that, right? They
Mm-hmm.
know when you're not being you, you're acting outside of you, and all of a sudden you're wanting the same transformation or the same impact by being someone different.
Mm-hmm. And even more so than knowing who you are, it's
Yeah.
remembering that everything you need is already on the inside of you. Because a lot of times we look at other people, and this is what I would do when I thought about being a speaker. I thought about writing a book, but I was like, that who's going to want to listen to me? I was doubting myself.
Mhm.
And then I realized, wait a minute, I have it too. I just have to unleash it. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping other people identify and unleash the brilliance that is within them. Because when you become aware, oh my goodness, when you become aware of your genius, of
So
your
how, wait a minute, when
skill,
you say when you become aware, what does that feel like?
of your talents, because this is the thing. A lot of times managers, supervisors, they will see it in you. And this is what I experienced, especially during my younger years. It
Yeah.
was like, why are they picking on me? Why don't they like me? Why? And I'm like, I'm working hard, I'm doing this. But you know what? They were intimidated by what I didn't even see.
Wow. Intimidation. That's powerful. That because here you are thinking you're doing something wrong with you, but they're projecting what they haven't yet developed within themselves. They
Yes.
still working on them. They're
Yes.
still looking like, well, she got so much potential and so much in her that I don't
Mhm.
even know how to align with that yet.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
deep. How many
Yes.
people can relate to that? Where your manager is pouring so much responsibilities on you because they see your value, they see your truth, they see what you can bring forth to the table. So they're
Mhm.
going to go ahead and milk as much as they can, right?
Mhm.
Or in your business where your client sees you and they like, oh my gosh, you have so much credibility. You're showing up and you're giving free content, free
Mhm.
value. And then here you are just draining yourself and
Mhm.
not realizing, wait a minute, I need to pause. So
Yes.
kind of walk, what other steps can people actually
Mhm.
see themselves doing to balance and set boundaries and set expectations so that way they can be that high performer at work. They can be that high performer in their business, or they can be co-creating with their higher self to know that I am enough. I am more
Mhm.
than enough where I'm at right now. And I want to acknowledge that. I want to recognize my value and my
Mhm.
strengths. And how
Mhm.
do I map that out? Many of my clients didn't know how to do that when it
Mhm.
comes to development, professional development. How do I stand out, Ruth? How do I market my skills so that way I know my value and I can be able to perform and develop as a key talent within my current position? So how do they be
Mhm.
able to map that out? Share that, because
Yeah, and it's important. It's important that you know, like you said, their managers might know, their clients might know, their family members might know, but do you know how valuable you are? So that's my question. Do you
yeah,
know what you bring to the table?
do you know? Oh, that's good. That's good. Good. So
Yeah.
pause on that. Write that down. Put that in your journal today. Later on, or even before you lay your head in the pillow, as to what does that mean to you. You have to be
Mhm.
so audacious, and allowing yourself permission to remove that veil, number one, and see from within. Go from within and know, what is it that I need to work on? What is it
Mhm.
that I need to develop? How do I expand and release myself from this bondage, this old way of
Mhm.
thinking, this old way of believing that I don't have enough? I don't have the accolades or the different credentials or the certifications to
Mhm.
become this next higher leader within my arena of what I do, or my wheelhouse of expertise. Believe it or not, did you know you don't even need to have all of that in order for you to strive and shine, because all that you have within you is already there. You may
Mhm.
just need to partner with maybe Dr. Jessica or myself to be able to, how do I project it out? How do I really elevate my self-esteem so I can show up
Mhm.
and know that I have the power to improve myself, but just need a little push, just
Yes.
need a little bit of coaching and mentoring and guidance.
Mhm. Yep. And do a check-in, because sometimes we shortchange ourselves
Okay.
because we're thinking, oh, well, I should apply for this, but I don't. But somebody who is less qualified than you and confident, they are going for it and they just might get it.
And they
And
just,
so,
and
yeah,
they get it. More than
yeah.
likely, they probably will. I've had many of my clients where they came straight out of grad school with zero to little experience. They just know that they had the tenacity, the audacity to
Mhm.
show up and just like, I just needed that guidance. Give me the proven systems. And they probably YouTube, or, so
Mhm.
oftentimes you can do this on your own. But the question is, how long will it take? Or
Mhm.
number one, identifying, like Dr. Jessica says, do you know your value? Do you know what it takes to bring to the table? Do you know how much wealth, knowledge that you have already gained,
Yes.
whether it been in the time that you did in education, or whether it been while you were at work or interning or did 10, 5, 10, 15 years within your current role, do you know your true value?
Yeah.
Take times for self. So tell them how should they do it intentionally? How can one actually intentionally put themselves aside by pouring out on their children, pouring out on their friends or their partners? How can they really strategize a key fundamental way where they can walk away off of this broadcast and say, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready to put myself first. What would be the course of action? Like, what are the two keys that you know you can share with them right now that they can start applying right away?
Well, the first thing you've got to do is set aside time for you.
Yeah.
You have to have that planning time, that strategy time. And many of them don't know this, but you and I, we strategize together. We plan together. We encourage each other. We
I'm telling
motivate.
you, we get up in the middle, wee hours of the day, right? Like people probably still snoring and counting their lambs and sheeps. I'm talking about 7:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. We're rolling up our sleeves and we're meditating. We're putting down, we're strategically mapping out, and we're taking time for self. Are we just intentionally just going through the robotic motion of waking up, clocking in, clocking out, cooking or cleaning or checking out our fuzzy animal friends or checking out our elders, but nowhere do we find where we're taking out time for self.
Go inward. Go inward.
Yeah. So if you all have any questions, I know I get commonly asked questions. Go ahead and put your questions into the comments section. If this is resonating with you, let us know in the chat. Let us know, like, I didn't know about this. I didn't know that taking from my history that it's actually impacting where I'm at today. How I was brought up, how it was being projected out to me through life, through the model figures in my life, the female figures, the male figures, the masculinity and the femininity, and how I balance those two energies together really takes a full force on you. Think about that. So write that down today as to put the questions in the chat room, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions as we grow. Like I said, many of our clients and even potential clients, they get stuck in the rut where we oftentimes find ourselves being counselors, right? Yeah. Can you relate with that, Dr. Jessica?
Absolutely.
You find yourself like, and that's okay because certain people are different, has different levels and different pillars of growth, and they're just not there yet. So you can really make a decision today. You get to decide. While the questions are coming in, we'll take a time in the next few seconds here to respond to them. You make a decision today. When were you? The reality is, you want to be able to show up as your full defined self, your full higher version, the best, greater version of you. But how do you unlock that? How do you unleash it? How do you take the time, whether it be 15, start off with 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes writing down in your journal. I'm always with a pen and paper, and I'm always writing down some key things I may have heard through audio or just having simple conversations with other mentors and other peers and who I'm associated with. Take time to really allow, most importantly, the information from your higher version of you, co-creating, letting that marinate with you for some time. Do you really take time for yourself? Now is the time to do so. So as the questions are coming in, potentially, let's go ahead and just take a time to really answer questions. My main questions that I see that comes across my table and is coming potentially through here as well is, Ruth, I don't know if I'm qualified enough to even take the time for self. I don't even know if I have the bandwidth to do so because, number one, I'm milking the well till it run dry because I'm a single mom, or I'm basically the breadwinner in my relationship. So you're asking me to take maybe a time out of my schedule? Like, how do I do that? What does that look like to you? Well, what do you like to do for fun? What is it that you like? Do you like medi and petties? Or do you like to go in the gym? Or do you like to just hang out with your friends and take time to do a brunch, do a happy hour? Or do you want to just take in a quiet place, put on a nice mellow music or instrument that you like listening to or didn't have a chance to listen to because you never had time for self, and go behind the veil or go behind the scene and just release every distraction, every to where you're all it's all about self. Yes. Taking 15 minutes out of your day to start with. How many people can commit? Go ahead and put number one, I'm going to commit on self. Put in the chat room number one that it's time to really define what is that it is to you. Take time in knowing what is your value. Are you willing to invest in you first? Invest in you by putting in 15 minutes of your time. Can you agree or can you not agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The second question that I often commonly get as well is, how do I even know what I truly do like or what I truly have as a desire? Like, how do I know that my next steps is leadership? I'm afraid. I don't know if I can mentor others, but I have a desire. But what if I mess up? You won't know until you try. Give yourself permission to mess up.
Right.
So you can learn from your lessons.
Absolutely.
That's the first agenda. What's your thoughts on that?
Yes, yes, you do. And this is the thing. A lot of times we, again, look at other people and think they can do it, but I can't. But that's just a lie that you're telling yourself. And so you have to expose the lie. You have to expose it. Like, you know what?
Wow.
If I have this desire, I always say this. If something is planted in your spirit, in your heart, that means that you can accomplish it. That means that you can achieve it. And so the only thing between you and what you're seeking to accomplish is you. So you gotta, you know what? I'm a little nervous, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna apply anyway. I'm gonna submit a proposal anyway. I'm gonna submit an application anyway. I'm gonna pick up the phone and call anyway. This is the thing. The worst thing that can happen is they can say no, and you'll continue life as it is right now.
Or you get the time to go within and really listen to yourself, listen to the voices from within that and discern and rightly divide that and say, you know what? I've done what I can. I maximize what I can. Maybe I need some help. Maybe I need, more than likely, you probably need someone to be able to identify what your hurdles are, what's blocking you from getting to that next promotion, or what's preventing you to really show up and strive so you can start rewarding yourself and being compensated in a way that you didn't think you would. I went from, remember I told you I was well into my master's. Well, 6 years in my master's, I was still making under 40K in corporate HR, right? And then fast forward, I decided to go within myself, development, professional development, seeking mentors, investing in mentors. Many of my clients are now awakening and realizing I know I can do it on my own, but the question is how long? How long will it take? Will it take weeks? Will it take months? Or perhaps years? So I had to make a decision. You got to make a decision. You get to decide, am I going to go ahead and invest in getting a mentor or a coach or an expert who can carve out the timeline for me and accelerate, where we got to make a decision now on what is our blocks, what is our hurdles to promoting ourselves, to really standing out. If you're knowing you have a gift that God has blessed you with, a voice to this blessing, and you're just needing that exposure or that platform to be able to speak it out, get with Dr. Jessica. Why would you hold that in? Or you're going to wait till your children or your children do it? And then, or you're going to wait till you get to your sick bed and sit back and watch your life go by and say, wow, I could have done a whole lot more than what I'm doing now. Then do it now. Reach out for help. Enough is enough. Market yourself. Be that top key authority. Be that top leader, and invest in you. Invest in you, right? The other main questions that I do get as well is, how do you know who to connect with? How do you know who to network with? How do you associate yourself with others, that other leaders that may be your guiding light, that may be able to support you? Kind of walk them through how do they be able to connect with someone like yourself, Dr. Jess, as a leader?
Definitely, yes. So I'm on LinkedIn, of course, Dr. Jessica Houston. Instagram at Dr. Jess Houston. I'm on YouTube, and I have like over 100 videos that you can check out on YouTube. Just Dr. Jessica Houston, and just reach out to people. Like, I've even had people to reach out to me about coaching, about wanting to become a speaker, about wanting to create products or write a book. So again, you have to believe in yourself enough to say, you know what, even if I get rejected, I'm up for it.
Good for you, Simone. I
I'm up
definitely
for it.
believe that you're going to commit to yourself. Good for
Yeah.
you, Brendan. Thank you all for coming on in here. And if
Mhm.
you are, thank you, Dr. Jess, for even combining your wealth of knowledge with me. And again, for those who don't know me, I am your career success strategist. I talk to hundreds of people. I speak and I broadcast and I connect with hundreds of people who are stuck, who are not taking time for self. I too, I'm going to confess and say, I used to be her. I used to be that person until I decide to embrace my human and embrace my higher version, because she says I can do all things. All things are possible. The creator in me is co-creating with my higher version of myself, which is Christ. And they tell me all the time, you can do all things, Ruth.
Yeah.
You just got to be specific as to what is your next higher end position. What is your next higher end passion? What are you super obsessed about? And if you're needing help, connect with Dr. Jessica or myself. We're more than happy to help you. That's all we have for today.
Yeah.
Let me know in the chat room, has
Ooh.
this resonated with you? Go ahead and tell us. Thank you so much, Martigas. And if I butcher your name, forgive me if I butchered your name. But let us know in the chat room, was this resonating with you? Would you like to see more of this? Let us know here in IG and Instagram. And if
Yes.
you're not following me on Instagram, why not? Go ahead and follow me at Speak Ruth Mac. Yes, Speak Ruth Mac. You can also join our tribe, our private tribe on Facebook. Promote yourself. Well, we would love to connect with you. And our goal is to go ahead and bring forth some of these live broadcasts on an ongoing and frequently basis. If you're enjoying this, go ahead and put it in the chat room. What are your struggles? What do you believe is your block? What's blocking you from achieving, of carving out 15 minutes? I do a whole day. What do you do when it comes to self-awareness, as far as self-care or self-improvement? I invest in myself. I have coaches, and they are about 4 to 5 figures to invest in them. What are you doing to invest in you? How are you moving that needle forward? Because money loves speed. And we live in a society that money is a tool and we cannot live without it. I'm done. I'm going to drop my mic on that part right there.
Yes, 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 yes. This has been phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. Thank you all so much. Definitely be connecting with us, and we would love to hear back from you. Go ahead and come in the comments if you have any more questions. If we didn't get to answer all of your questions, we just ran out of time, but we'll be back. And we appreciate you all. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your day. And know that you can do all things. And know that you're just one person away to connecting to your breakthrough, to connecting to your blessing, to connecting to getting promoted, my friend, to connecting to showing up and showing out with your voice. And we're looking to partner with you and collaborate with you. In the meantime, see you next time. Cheers. Bye for now.